Hey, Tom, can you hear us?
Now, are you calling in? I mean, are you logging?
No, can you try, say a little bit more, just make sure we can hear you?
You don't see a Zoom link anywhere in your council?
Yes,
I'll,
Break it up a little bit.
I'll
You
send it.
cut out there for a second, so we'll just have to see if maybe it's a connection thing on your end.
okay. I can hear you guys. All I see is a dark
No,
screen
you're
with
good,
the
you're
Cordova
coming through
logo.
clear now.
Okay, we got Tom.
Yeah.
That sounded good there, Tom.
Okay,
No, Tom, you and Kenny are not gonna be here. Physically. Sorry, you and, yeah, Ken said he was, Tom's in. We're,
You got a message? Okay.
she's sending in.
But you never know about forwards, you know? I tried his USFS one also. So
Okay,
it
did you
went
check your Forest Service one? USDA, not USFS.
Oh, well, that's probably what I meant.
Yeah, but did you check
Sure,
that one
I
too?
understand. Yes, I can't be sure.
Okay, he sees it. All right, I'm hanging up on you. Bye. Slacker.
Okay, Ken's gonna be maybe later. So, science in the woods.
Was pretty soon. Yeah.
We could be keeping in the roots.
Why is that owl staring at me?
It likes you.
Just don't know.
Oh, Nitty?
It's still looking at me.
What are you working on?
Sam, look at that thing. What do you want to do with talk? You do not rotate him.
Keep talking.
Is it on? Well, it must be because we're getting an image, right?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I'm gonna
Can we
take
get
your seats.
Susan? There you go.
It only works on that side of the room.
What
Change
does
it.
it look like
I'll
on?
switch before Kathy gets here.
But it's skipping. Casey. Yeah. Got the two.
Oh, there you are. Okay, now it's.
We've got Dave and we've got movement.
Okay, Dave, we got Dave.
Now it's only focusing on Susan. Oh, it has a name for a second.
You're the home base.
It must detect movement too. This case- Yeah, it must be emotional.
There's a delay.
Do we have enough to do that public hearing?
Yeah, we got four.
That was probably.
Wait a minute, but
Well,
what,
between-
3, 4, 5.
Dave and Tom.
It's based on there.
Was going, or is it just muted?
Oh, maybe he doesn't realize there's a public hearing.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't think YouTube's going.
It's not the funding.
Well, I don't know.
Yes, it is. It's up in the top.
But is it, oh, and audio's going, so everybody's listening to us?
Yes.
Get the heck out of here.
Dave, can you hear us?
I can, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's on Zoom,
Right.
but YouTube is happening too?
I don't know.
Top right corner says that. Kelsey, are you watching YouTube?
It's been on.
Oh,
Thanks, me.
Yeah, you're good.
It's top right.
done.
Okay, are we good?
Mhm.
Okay, we call city council public hearing October 23rd, 2024 at 6:45 PM to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Allison,
Here.
Tom Baylor,
here.
Kathy Sherman is absent for now. Casey Kinsman,
Here.
Wendy Rainey,
Here.
Dave Zastro,
Here.
Kristen Carpenter. Here. And Ken Jones is absent. That's quorum of council.
Okay, our public hearing tonight is on ordinance 1222. An ordinance of the city council of the city of Cordova, Alaska enacting Title VII, city property and relocating and renumbering CMC chapters 5.12, 5.14, 5.16, 5.22, 5.23, 5.24, 5.28, and 5.29 to chapters 7.10 through 7.80 of Title 7 of the Cordova Municipal Code. For those online, there are 2 staff members in the audience, and that's it. Either of you like to say anything as public? No, no takers. So we will recess until, I don't know, 6:55 unless you get a bunch of people come in.
Or whatever you think is best.
Oh.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Tom.
Okay. Hey, there, just for the mayor, there's so much correspondence and stuff in this packet. If we're gonna be discussing anything, because whoever's gonna bring it up could please give us a page number. There's there's a lot to try to scroll through on the laptop. So thank you.
Roger, yeah, thanks.
don't know how thorough the auditor is gonna get, but you should call out page numbers, I would hope. I think they know enough.
It's fine. Steve Trey.
Hey, Ken, are you able to hear us?
Yeah, I can hear.
So,
Okay, cool. We're just in recess for the public hearing right now.
Okay, sounds good. I might have to jump off if my clients get back to the beach, but I'm here for now.
Okay.
Test, test, test.
That's new house.
On the resolution, or,
Jim, we're just finishing up a public hearing, so the regular meeting hasn't started yet, okay?
yeah, we're on ordinance 1222, public hearing. Is there anybody in public? For those online, we have one additional member of the public joined us. Any comments on this one? Hearing and seeing no comments, then we will adjourn the public hearing. Minutes, and we'll start the regular agenda.
Well, it's in.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, about the check that, as you said, we conducted all its meetings standing up. Everybody. You want a podcast?
Hard to write about.
It's not gonna get to be October 23rd.
It's a military person, that person doesn't write. So just- Obviously that.
Feel free to circle the winners and your.
I love that.
It starts Friday,
Yep,
That's
tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I think.
Friday.
Friday.
Right there.
Oh, Friday, yeah, 3 o'clock our time.
I know, it's really unfair to the West Coast, isn't it? The East
Who
Coast
used to be
determines the whole. Right.
Yeah, it must be odd to.
It's in LA. Yeah.
I know, they still,
East Coast.
they
No,
make it at the
East
right
Coast
time
people
for
stay
the
up
East
late.
Coast.
Yeah.
That's pretty late, I remember
Say,
being
hey, I think we're.
pretty late for
Well, that's
the.
not too bad, it's 7 Eastern, it'll be done by
And games are different.
10:30 or.
Since the pitch clock, they are quicker, but. These playoff games haven't been so quick because they have like 9,000 ads between each and you haven't
Gotta
noticed.
pay for some amount.
There's some money being spent.
And
He's on the PBS NewsHour tonight about Fernando.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
that guy was so
I
great.
know, yeah. I remember him, from
That's
the
like-
Yankees in the late 70s, early 80s. I think he beat them in 81, they said,
It's on
on the Dodgers. It's not bad. Yeah. Now,
Yeah, and-
approaching that, it's not that old. I just wanted, it was freaking very old.
Yeah, right.
Are we ready? Or we don't
Haven't
need
we
to
been
change
on this whole
it.
time?
Are we muted?
No, we're on, we're good.
Okay, we can watch.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call the regular city council meeting of October 23rd, 2023 at 7 PM to order. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Ellison,
Here.
Tom Baylor,
Here.
Kathy Sherman. Absent, Casey Kinsman,
Here.
Wendy Rainey. Here. Dave Zastro,
Here.
Kristen Carpenter,
Here.
and Ken Jones.
Here.
That's a quorum of council.
Okay, thank you. Any objection to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, then the agenda will be approved. Disclosures of conflicts of interest and ex parte communication. Hearing none, then we'll move along to commission or communications by and petitions of visitors. We have our auditors here tonight, Mr. Jim Newhouse. I think you're on the line, Jim.
I'm here.
Okay, take it away.
All right, just a second. I'm going to share a little presentation that we did. Can you all see the PowerPoint? Does it come through large enough?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
I don't know, see it back there at all.
Okay. Especially with an organization that has a large set of financials such as yourselves, we like to do like a synopsis of the financial audit. And essentially what this is, I could go in many hours to review your financials with you, but I find usually for a well-informed board or council that it's redundant. So I'll start with this. So our responsibilities is to form an expressive opinion about whether the financial statements have been prepared by management with the oversight of the city council, are presented fairly in all material respects in conformity with the generally accepted accounting principles. We are also responsible for planning and performing the audit to obtain reasonable, not absolute assurance about whether the financial statements are free of material misstatements, whether caused by fraud or error. Because of the nature of the audit evidence and the characteristics of fraud, we are unable to obtain reasonable but not absolute assurance that material misstatements will be detected. Evaluating whether the city city's controls sufficiently address identified risks of material misstatements due to fraud, and controls intended to address the risk of mismanagement override of other controls. We're also responsible with communicating to you in writing all significant deficiencies, material weaknesses, and internal control identified in the audit, and reporting to management all deficiencies noted during our audit that are sufficient, important to merit management attention, and conducting our audit in accordance with professional standards. Management, the council, and the board's responsibilities: adopting sound accounting policies, presenting financial statements in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles, establishing and maintaining effective internal control over financial reporting, identifying and confirming the city complies with laws and regulations applicable to its activities, making all financial records and related information available to the auditor, providing the auditor with a letter confirming certain representations made during the audit that include but are not limited to management's disclosure of all significant deficiencies, including material weaknesses in the design or operation of internal control that could adversely affect the city's abilities to record, process, summarize, and report financial data, and acknowledgement of their responsibility for the design and implementation of programs and controls to prevent and detect fraud. The city council is also responsible for oversight of the financial reporting process in accordance with financial, in accordance with internal control over financial reporting. And then essentially what it comes down to is an auditor is not there to detect fraud. If fraud is found, we raise the red flags, we let everybody know. But in a study that I read, I don't know, probably 15 years ago, in 100 cases of fraud, I think 12 instances were identified through the audit process. 32 were actually identified through whistleblowers within the organization. So essentially what we do is with the audit process, we look at, or we identify accounts that we look at to make sure that the numbers are materially accurate. Depending on the size of the organization, there could be account balances that are potentially significant to maybe other organizations, but really are immaterial in the scheme of things for your organization that we may not examine just because of their relative value. Ultimately, most organizations want to know, how do we do? Essentially, we issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. That means we did not have any corrections or adjustments, nor did we find any material weaknesses in internal control, nor did we report any significant deficiencies in internal control. We did not identify any material misstatements. We did not propose any adjustments during the audit process. We looked at your organization. We had to do a federal single audit, which means if you spend over $750,000 of federal money, then you're required essentially to have a compliance audit. We identified these two programs as your major programs for single audit testing. Again, we issued a modified opinion on the federal single audit report, uniform guidance. We did not identify any material weaknesses in internal control over major programs, nor do we report any significant deficiencies in internal control over major programs, nor do we identify any other findings that are required to be reported under the uniform guidance. In addition to a federal single audit, you also had a state Alaska single audit. And these two programs were identified as major programs for the state of Alaska. We issued an unmodified opinion on that report. We didn't identify any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies over internal control over your major programs, nor did we identify any findings that are required to be reported in accordance with the state of Alaska single audit guide. I realize I didn't go page by page of the financials. I hope you all have had a chance to review the financials. If there are any questions on the financials right now, I'd like to open the floor and entertain those questions right now.
nobody jumping at it, Jim.
Okay. Then I'll jump over to the letter to the governing body. For the most part, this is a rather boilerplated report. This is part of our communication to the council. Essentially, we have to identify certain areas that came to light during the audit. If there are no big areas, we identify your significant accounting estimates. Just about for every organization, there's going to be something similar to this. Depreciation expense is an estimate that's based upon your estimated useful lives of your assets. When we do the audit programs within your capital assets, we identify, or we look at those, and we identify certain transactions for testing, and identify whether, or look at that and use our professional judgment whether your truck should be at 7 years or 15 years, or if you've got roads in there, what's the life of the roads? Is that reasonable? These are all estimates. Again, your landfill closure cost, that's also an estimate, and then your allowance for doubtful accounts is also an estimate that we have to determine whether the amounts are reasonable. We did not identify or obtain information that indicates fraudulent activity. We have not identified any material misstatements during the audit. When we do the audit, especially when there's audits that have to be federal single audit and state single audits, we also have to issue a report in your financial statements. It's internal control over financial reporting required in accordance with governmental accounting auditing standards. Essentially, if you spend $1 of federal money, then they want that report in your financials. And essentially, that's we talk about internal control a bunch within the audit. And if there was a systemic issue, we would bring that to your attention. If there was an isolated instance of controls being circumvented, then we would bring that to your attention. Nothing during our audit. We identified some areas of strengthening your internal control over operating efficiency, and we talked about that with your staff and Cheryl, but nothing that would rise to the level of a significant deficiency or weakness. Or these are just when we come into audit, we try to identify potentially best practices. For example, if there's segregation of duties, and your organization is pretty good with their segregation of duties. If it's a smaller office where essentially there's a finance director and a bookkeeper, potentially some duties may overlap, and we realize that. We try to take a realistic approach with auditing and maybe make some comments to our clients on what they could do to institute compensating controls. Collateralization, the letters to management, we have one comment, a management letter comment, and this is essentially every client that has a significant cash balance that doesn't have their cash balance, either a separate collateralization agreement or a separate security agreement, we have to issue this comment. Do I think that there's a risk associated with having large balances with one financial institution, or maybe only a couple of financial institutions? I don't know. I think it's kind of ridiculous, but the offset, of actually getting a separate collateralization agreement can be expensive for organizations. So again, during our audit, we noticed that the city did not maintain a collateralization agreement for their bank accounts. We recommend the city maintain a collateralization agreement for all accounts, for all amounts above the FDIC insurance limits. This will ensure the city's cash is safe and insured in the case of any financial institution becoming insolvent. You'll have to look at that and do a cost benefit with that to see if that's even something that y'all want to do. Again, this is all best practices essentially. Were there any comments regarding the board letter or the management letter?
Doesn't appear so.
That's all I've got for y'all. I hope I didn't take too much of your time and was
Nope, thank you. We got some reading material for the next couple of weeks. So,
only if you want to go to sleep, right?
well, thank you for that, report and, appreciate the work you do.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, audience comments regarding agenda items. Do you have any comments on the agenda items before us? Seeing none then, chairpersons. Chairperson, representatives, boards and commissions. Don't see anybody from any boards out there or online, so. There is a report from Richmond Sound RCAC highlights in the September board meeting in your packet. And we still don't have a student council rep. So the consent calendar is before you.
On the consent calendar. Tom Baylor,
Yes.
Kristen Carpenter,
Yes, yes.
Wendy Rainey,
Yes,
Ken Jones.
Yeah.
Kathy Sherman,
Yes.
Dave Zastro,
Yes.
Casey Kinsler.
Yes.
Consent calendar is approved.
Okay, our minutes were in the consent calendar. We have no bids or contracts tonight, so that takes us to reports of officers. The mayor's report. Both conferences that we had in the last couple of weeks went well. I think Casey introduced or welcomed the pioneers, and I welcomed the historical society, and what I hear, both conferences had a good time and enjoyed the facilities, and hopefully we'll spread the word on that and bring us more conferences. We still got some more coming. In the consent calendar, there was a proclamation for the Native Village of EX 29th sobriety celebration, and I will present them a decent copy of that and read it to them at their opening ceremonies of their conference. I think it's the second weekend again.
I think it's November
8th, 9th, 10th,
8th, yes.
And so we'll be doing that. Get junior high basketball next weekend, November 1st and 2nd. Something like that. The holidays are coming up. So it's a busy time. Get ready for Board of Fish coming in December. We need to make sure we have openings for that. The one question I got at the historical opening things was where all can we go for breakfast? And there's not a whole lot of choices for breakfast. I think the bakery,
Truck.
huh?
Lance's food truck is open.
Yeah, the bakery and the food truck.
And I think Jen just got a breakfast thing going.
she's gonna start in
Yeah.
November.
Jen, yeah,
Yeah,
she wasn't going yet at
Not
that
yet,
time,
yeah.
but yeah, so anyway, I helped with the Ducks Unlimited last weekend. Their annual banquet, so anyway. Things going, so. Any questions? Hey, Sam, manager's report?
So I've been like eating, drinking and living budget and numbers. With Cheryl, who is also doing it. We have pretty much met with every staff person. and I say we, but really Cheryl's doing the meat of the work to get it in and doing things, so I'm hoping. Our goal is to have something out by Friday afternoon for the work session on Wednesday, a comparison of revenue to budget, so. It might be in the afternoon or evening of Friday, but we will get something moving. The other thing is, I just want to point out in the audit. Because it just, shows that, where we've talked about the 3.9 million that has been taken out of the general fund. On page 59, it says the fund balance at the beginning of fiscal year 23 was 3.286 million. And at the end of the year, it was $128,928. So just on that particular day, on the end of that year, that's where we ended. We started fiscal year 24 basically with $128,000. So it's just good to see. I mean, I have a whole list of numbers that go back through ending and starts, which I can email if you want, but it's really just the demonstrates that so. Other than that, we have some new people. It's very exciting. Susan got a new person, which is super exciting. We got a new library person. So things are really coming along. There's a lot of new people doing budgets. Chief is new to the budget. Samantha is new to the budgets. Ashley is
New to having two
two
budgets.
budgets. So we're working through things.
Justin.
Oh yeah,
Justin and
Justin.
fired.
Derek,
Now, is Duncan still here or is he done?
he's gone. As far as I know, he's gone.
Yes.
Yes.
Any idea on? Samantha is she? Yes.
Yeah, she
Okay.
was hired. as
Hired,
well.
okay.
Yes, she's the new director. So there's a lot of learning curves on both sides. I have never done this much budget work either.
Yes, you have. We did it last year.
Well, I don't even really. Not really. I was just like mayhem. So we're getting there and I think we'll be good. So we'll have something out to you. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Keith.
Since you brought up positions, what open positions do we still currently have?
It sounds like we have a new potential DMV person. Not the previous one.
They can't hear you.
Yes, have to remind me. We have a new potential DMV person, the other person, has moved on. We have lifeguard and pool ops open. Samantha was the pool ops. We have, is it a full-time lifeguard and?
We have a part-time lifeguard open, the full ones, filled.
Okay, part-time. Okay. Open,
City planner.
city planner, oh, yes, we extended a job offer, it was accepted, so December-ish for that position we filled in. It's very exciting. Yeah, so we have really toned down, we still have the policeman on board, they have to do some really extensive background stuff, so we leave it open until that's passed.
Recreation clerk.
Oh, yes, so Pam from Bedarkey moved to the utility position, so her position in Bedarkey is over.
Yeah, the street superintendent.
Still,
More than ever, we need that.
but the street kids are doing great. I mean,
Yeah,
I
the
feel
sand
like,
truck was out
I
Monday.
feel like they are really pulling together between Kevin and Chris. They are doing a great job getting that crew focused and they're doing good.
I saw Orca Road got done, but I can't imagine the state did it, so I wonder if the city did it. We're just always last on the list, so I was
So it was done
surprised.
this morning.
It was
early,
done
yeah.
this morning early.
The highway was done this morning when I came into.
Oh, so maybe it was.
So maybe they got out
it
there
all the way
early.
through.
The
I
state had a little bit of pressure after yesterday's accident, so
Multiple.
Because Whiteside was done too.
there was a little pressure there.
And we did the hospital, I don't think we did much for streets. But we did the hospital and.
Let's positive news, thank you, I have a couple more questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is, me rewatching from last week's work session. For 2026, do we have any potential matches for the, what is that, Second Street? I know we have a 1.5.
I have a meeting set up with Clay. And,
Okay.
yeah, I'm trying to fit that in with everything else, but
So we're working.
we're working on it, yeah.
And then I know at the end of it, when we were talking budgets, there was some. I didn't see it in this packet, so I'm just asking, this may not be for you, this might be for Susan as well. Did the chamber get any correspondence to us? And I want to bring that up because I couldn't see anything, it was all audio on the work session.
Can you remind me what it is?
There was essentially a roll-up of their numbers. She, in the meeting, verbally said she'd get this over, so it could be in the packet. I didn't notice it in the packet.
Well,
handouts.
there were some handouts, and there
Yeah.
was one we didn't get because it was multiple pages.
Yeah. Okay, so
I can ask for those
that'd be great.
in email.
Other than that, that's all I have, thank you.
You're welcome.
Have we asked the ski hill for a report? People, I remind them that they're part of the budget process too, and
I already did.
we want their report in,
So you're looking for their.
their annual report.
Yeah, you're right.
Just-
I have something that's not a budget question, I just have spent, I mean, I think some of you know, I go out running, I go out work a road, and it seems to me the last few months that I've seen the safety bar on the Copper River Seafoods dumpster more regularly and less trash. And I just thought it would be nice to give them a shout out and say thank you for being conscientious. Maybe you've already done that, I don't know, but I thought it
No,
might be
I mean, we could.
nice to send them an email and maybe Emily can do some social media shout out. And then I wondered if you, in your free time, could contact, or somebody could contact Charlotte to say, are there others that we should be recognizing for having done? Because it's just, I just felt like if there is positive behavior, we certainly want to reinforce that and say to others, look, it can be done. So,
Just an FYI, the bear at our place broke our bear proof dumpster.
oh,
He jumped on the lid so many times that it bent in enough for him to get in, so.
Was it steel or aluminum?
Yeah,
The steel?
the steel one. So that's been replaced. So you may see more bear activity at Copper River, because now we got a new dumpster, but I don't.
well, I was also on a call with Whittier with work related stuff, and they were talking about their bear issues, and they talked about people who, leave their boats, parked on land, and like they leave shrimp bait on the boat during the week. And they're surprised when they get a bear on their boat, looking for, and the bears walk down into the harbor and they swim in the harbor, so. Yeah, we've got issues, but they really.
Our bears should go there.
They got good food there.
Yeah.
I guess to reinforce what Charlotte is always saying, there is no such thing as bear proof. As you found.
There it is.
I think overall we saw an upswing in people getting those
Good.
up and even people putting real locks, like padlocks on some.
Mhm. I just think it'd be great to say thank you and to, just some public recognition is. I know it's hard, maybe we don't know exactly who's doing what, but just to say it is happening and,
Yeah, and maybe just do a general overall.
yeah, that'd be helpful, thank you.
Any other questions for Sam? Online, any questions for Sam? Not hearing any, so we'll move along to the clerk's report.
So I have the two little reminders in there. I guess I was just thinking maybe they'll get a little more play if I put them in a council packet, because we can talk about them, if anybody's listening. The boards and commissions, well, we still have another 6 weeks or so to accept applications, but I only have one. I resent the email that I sent to all the staffs of the boards and commissions, so they can get the word out to their people who are expiring, and if they wanna get applications in. But also, you guys are all out in the community and doing great stuff, so visit with people and see who you think might be, a good fit for one of them. And then it's a state election, but obviously it's an election and it's important, so we're gonna keep talking about it. The early voting has been extremely busy. There was a little bit of a glitch this morning, so we helped out also. They may start having 2 people working it just because there's numbers, yeah. But I think people elsewhere are used to standing in line for a tiny bit. We're just not used to having to do that to people, but nobody was upset having to wait their turn. And I think C1 had 45 people today.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're going through some ballots. And I also have been getting phone calls about that, and someone today said, I didn't see anything on the website, and I said, oh, here's the state link, but I'm like, you're right, we should have it on ours too. I asked Emily, and she got it right out, it was on Facebook today, and it's right on the front page of the city website. So people should have lots of resources, and they can obviously still call City Hall and get their absentee stuff or come and vote early. And yes, Sam said that I have a new deputy clerk that has begun, Colette Gilmore. Doing great so far. We've had the guys from the assessing software called her today and taught her a bunch about Mars. Tina's gonna come in and do some help with Cassell. And otherwise, I'm sure I just talk too much every time I just open anything to do. I start telling her things and then it ends in like Robert's Rules or it ends in Open Meetings Act, and then I'm like, where did I start that conversation? And she's like, it's all good, just keep talking about it. So I will have her come to an upcoming meeting soon, I didn't wanna bombard her this quickly. And she may send an email soon, I did ask her to email you guys, introduce herself, and talk about the AML conference. I think I do know at least a couple who are interested for sure, and she's gonna do some of the arrangements for you guys, the registrations and the travel stuff, so. We don't always exactly budget for how many, cause I never know, but the mayor's budget hasn't hardly been touched this year, I think, so. I would never say no to you, and I think you guys, it's very valuable, so anybody who wants to, and we can alternate years kind of thing.
And it's the 9th, it starts on December 9th.
Is that it? I thought it was the 8th or the 9th too, yeah,
Whatever that one
Hugely
is.
worth it.
and that is all I have to report, I can answer questions.
Questions for the clerk? Have you been getting many of those,
Board and
Yeah.
commission? No, I have one.
so we need to recruit,
Yes, please do.
okay? Anybody else? Okay, we have several correspondence. Questions on any of that?
It's a comment, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Just around the Cordova Ferry Terminal, that is huge project, quite extensive. That's very impressive, and shout out to any and everyone who's put work into that. Is there anything that they need from the city to move forward or okay, so are there matching pieces to this that we need to be aware of also? Okay.
The big thing right now is doing they just started the environmental review process, yeah, so that'll take a year. So.
No, this is
Uh-huh.
exciting.
I'm not too bad on that.
That's what these letters are about.
Right.
Yeah.
Make sure when they're designing these boats, they look at the docks that they're gonna land on.
Well, the thing that for Cordova, I mean, Chenegans is typically needed because right now their docks are tide dependent.
Right, correct.
The only reason they're doing ours is so that there can be the Aurora and the Alaska class ferry tied up at the same
Yeah.
time.
Okay. I read through it, very impressed.
Yeah.
Not gonna say too much about it, other than thanks for everyone who's put time and energy into that.
We're happy to be the new kids.
Yeah.
They can bring them all here.
Oh, whatever it takes.
Okay, any other comments on the correspondence? Okay, we'll move along to ordinances and resolutions. This is substitute ordinance 1221. This is first reading again on this ordinance. An ordinance of the council of the city of Cordova, Alaska, enacting chapter 5.01, disbursement and investment of city funds, amending and renaming chapter 5.04, warrants to signature requirements, and clarifying the signature process on city fund disbursements, amending, renumbering, and renaming chapter 5.44, Cordova General Reserve Fund to chapter 5.02, Cordova Permanent Fund, General Reserve Fund in parentheses, repealing chapter 5.40 sales tax, and enacting chapter 5.10 sales tax to adopt a registration process for sellers, update the sales tax return implementation, enforcement, protest, and collection procedures, remove the sales tax exemptions for travel agencies, professional services, commissions, and fees, and recreational flights. To clarify the exemption for nonprofit and type entities and expressly excluding rentals from the exemption. And to require purchasers to file a refund application for the sales tax exemption on construction materials and services, and limit the exemption to properties with at least one dwelling unit. This is first reading.
Mr. Mayor, so moved.
Second.
Okay, Councilor Kinsman.
Again, bring this forward to have on the floor. I think we have discussed this at length. Again, last week there was some more great conversation on it. Sorry I missed that. I think things were represented well. I don't get really much more to add. Get it on the floor. If I missed anything from last week's conversation, I'd be happy to hear it. I did rewatch a couple times now. Yeah, that's what I have.
Councilor Carpenter.
Thanks. Just as a, in case people are listening and are curious, it's labeled a substitute ordinance because we made some changes to the first version, which had already been through one reading, but the changes were considered significant enough that we thought it would be, the clerk suggested we bring it back as a substitute ordinance. So this is listed as the first reading, although we've been talking about it for several months. No, nice.
And there is a lengthy memo from the attorney in our packet.
Which is there's great insight in there. And it very clear, very concise. Yeah.
Okay, Councilor Rainey,
I have nothing to add.
Councilor Sherman,
No, I don't have anything to add. I'm in favor of this. I just want to make sure the public knows that we've been discussing this for quite some time. And if you want to trace back, you can go back into the minutes. It's been a lengthy process. I think it's been a really good process. I think we've considered, a lot of the public comments that we've had. And not everything was approved and not everything, you know, it wasn't just like a blanket sweep. We did a lot of soul thinking, I think, through this whole process, and it's timely, and I think it needed to be done, so I'm really glad that we're moving forward with this.
okay, thank you. Councilor Baylor,
I'm good with it, thanks.
Councilor Jones, didn't quite get you there. I think it broke up just a little bit, but I think you said you're good.
He's on mute. Oh,
Oh,
and yeah, he's back. I don't know if he's losing service or what.
Councilor Zastro,
Yeah, happy with all the work we've done. It looks good to me.
anybody else have second round? Well, this is first reading, so we can just do a voice vote, so all those in favor of substitute ordinance 1221 on first reading, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carries
Opposed.
unanimous.
Oops. Okay, I was wondering, okay, good, so it's 6-1 on that, the motion carries.
Okay, that was first reading, so if you know people that are interested in this stuff, get them to the next meeting or put in a letter or something so that we can know their thoughts on it. We haven't had any audience comments yet. So next item is ordinance 1222, an ordinance of the council of the city of Cordova, Alaska, enacting Title 7 city property and relocating and renumbering Cordova Municipal Code chapters 5.12 through, there it is, 5.29 to chapter 7.10 through 7.80 of Title 7 of the Cordova Municipal Code. This is second reading.
So moved. Second.
Councilor Rainey.
This is just a renaming,
Yeah, renaming, renumbering.
renaming and renumbering, so I don't really have anything discussion wise.
Hey, Councilor Sherman.
Yeah, same. Again, we're housekeeping, I think, for the community's benefit. We basically separated, some property issues, tax issues, sales tax issues specifically. And I think it makes it clearer for all of us. And so I'm in favor of it.
Hey, Councilor Carpenter.
I support it.
Councilor Kinsman.
That's
Councilor Jones.
I'll support this one.
Councilmember Baylor.
I support it.
Councilmember Zastro.
Yes, I support it.
Okay, this is second reading, so this will be a roll call vote.
Okay, on adoption of ordinance 1222. Ken Jones. And you're on mute. Don't give it. Yeah, I can come back to you. Tom Baylor,
Yes.
Casey Kinsman,
yes.
Kristen Carpenter,
Yes.
Dave Zastro,
Yes,
Wendy Rainey,
Yes,
Kathy Sherman.
Yes.
Ken Jones, are you in support of this?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. The motion carries 7-0 on that one.
Okay, thank you. Resolution 102433. A resolution of the council of the city of Cordova, Alaska, recognizing Veterans Memorial historical use as park space and supporting the improvement of this space.
I so moved.
Second.
Councilor Rainey.
Yeah, I really support the covered spaces project and am excited to see that there's potential for including the Veterans Memorial in that project. It's definitely something needed, the covered spaces for recreation in the summer. So I am in full support of this.
Thank you, Councilmember Sherman.
Yeah, I too am in support of it. I think we've made a small inroad there with recognizing our veterans and the Coast Guard. And I think it's an appropriate space. I think the letter from CDFU shows their support from the fishing community. And I just think it's just the most beautiful space in Cordova. So I think it's a lovely addition to our community.
Councilor Zastro.
yeah, adding on to all the positive comments, I certainly support it. I think having the harbor have recreation areas for the public to come and kind of enjoy the scenery is really important. It provides a mix and an opportunity for everybody to enjoy that area.
Thank you, Councilor Jones.
I support this one. Sorry, it took me a while to find the mute button. echo with the comments in front of me there.
Okay, thank you, was it Councilor Baylor?
Yeah, since there's item number 3 there, I will support it. And that's that no city funds are being requested.
We're all digging.
Yeah.
I got on that one.
I knew he's doing. Councilor Kinsman.
Yeah, this is great addition for our community. Any concerns with maintenance costs, Sam, of anything they may be asking for there? I mean, I just noticed that's the only piece that might be a future ask.
Well, we already, pick up trash there.
Yeah.
So I think we will work with covered spaces on the maintenance aspect. I'm always for sharing that.
Okay.
So, yeah, but we already do pick up trash there. We have a trash can. Tables.
Perfect. Yeah, I think this is great. Thank you. Covered our bases for the work on this.
Carpenter?
Yeah, I echo, Councilmember Kinsman's comment about thanking Dottie and Natasha for all the work they've done to keep the Covered Spaces project moving forward and active. And I also want to say, I had a picture of another community that had a big buoy just like ours, and they painted, I don't remember, it was a town in Maine, I'll just say Belfast, they painted Belfast on it. And it became a huge tourist attraction. People wanted to go stand next to the buoy and get their picture taken. So I think it'd be great if we do Cordova, we can even put the lat long on it, but it's a big enough surface and it's a great landmark, so it would be another way to add to that area.
Okay, any last comments on this? This is a resolution, so it's just a voice vote, so all those in favor, resolution 10-24-33, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried unanimously. We have no unfinished business. So new and miscellaneous business, remote city officers and employees. Discussion of charter change possibility, page 186 in your packet. Sam, you wanna start us off?
Sure, so this was talked about a few meetings ago, and I think, thank you, Susan, for your help with this, I feel like the finance director is probably one position that we do need to have the ability to try and have a remote person. I think our code that states, they have to be residents for other positions keeps that ability for people to hybrid. Like, if they wanna go out for the month of January when it's dark, they can work because their residence is Cordova. I like that ability a lot. I think it's a good thing for people who can do it.
And that already exists.
And that already exists. The change. If we were to change the finance director, we could do just as it is and put out here. I leave that open to you guys, however you wanna discuss that. Susan, what?
Well, that's kind of it. I mean, I offered. The further step that could be taken would be remove section 4.2 altogether. Or if you look at, all the positions that are laid out in Article 3 of Charter, you could pick and choose which ones. If you notice, city attorney says that they, notwithstanding 4.2. Because the city attorney is not a resident of the city, we contract for that. Matter of fact, assessor doesn't say that, but it should. So at some point over the years, we started contracting with assessors. Maybe at one point we have one on staff. Not since I've lived here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so that should also have that same disclaimer at the bottom. But that would be sweeping, I would say, if you totally got rid of 4.2, and Sam was just saying that the position we've been talking about is how the finance director one would seem to fit for it.
Councilor Rainey?
Yeah, I'm against wiping out 4-2 completely. I'd like to just go position by position. I think the finance director is something we've talked about. We've seen the repercussions of trying to hire within that restriction, and I think I'm fine with opening that up specifically, but I think it should, we should also add the statement from the attorney to the tax assessor duty so that that's current, and then break out the finance director position and do it position by position. I'm against wiping out completely the qualification of being a resident. But that one position, I do feel, I'm fine with a hybrid or somebody coming in with contracting out.
Councilor Kinsman.
Yeah, I guess along those lines, I would want to be like, for me, what I'd like to see is us try to hire someone under that, being able to have a remote work instead of what we've kind of been doing is having a contracted out service. So get away from the contract if we can, And if there is someone that's interested in being that position with, clear guidance, whatever that guidance might come, and that's what I look from staff to bring back to us of, once a quarter you need to be in Cordova, once every 6 months, whatever that might look like, whatever we feel is the efficient way to do it. Maybe it's none, I don't know. I'm leaning on you for that one.
I would have to talk some other places. I think it's hard to find an employee of us only because they're contractors. They tend to be contractors. So I'm not sure that it's gonna be a simple, we put it out there and we'll have 40 applicants.
But if we have more than one. we're
Yeah.
winning.
If we have one, we're winning.
Maybe. Also, so would you like to see that position budgeted? Not been budgeted.
Well,
We've been, the CFO.
But you've been
We've
contracted.
Yeah, but not at the cost of what a position would be.
Or what, I mean, do you feel like there's? It seems like we wanna weigh the cost and the benefit,
Okay, I'm enjoying this. It's kind of your, I mean,
So we have a Mayor, we have a comptroller now, and we have the contracted service. As the manager. What position are we in? Do we need to fill it at the CFO director level? With our current setup? And that's fine, we understand, that's okay.
I think we've talked about it a little bit and it's just,
Both of us being new also kind of limits us able to completely weigh in on this yet. I do see a lot. I'm sorry. I am seeing a lot of things that are falling to me, that a finance director would probably be doing or would be doing. And I do think that our, professional services for audit prep would be eliminated. I don't think we'd need that as a contracted place, but that's really the only area that we're really using the contractors heavily. Occasionally we'll reach out with a question, but it's rare.
yeah, right now we're still
Learning.
we're getting our feet on the ground after software and we're getting our feet on the ground for budget. Cheryl's learning an entire new job. So I feel like in some cases we need to figure out where we're at. And I mean, I just don't know. I'm not a finance person, so I don't know if like a finance director could come in here and the little bit of chaos we're in right now and not be wow, it's crazy. I just don't know if we're in a position to help them start a job. This is how I kind of look at it. But they would probably help, sure.
I'm just gonna say, my guess is that. That having a CFO would be a benefit, it would probably free you up. Quite a bit, both of you, I mean, it would take the load off of Sam and to be kind of looking more at the bigger picture and. And do some of the things that, like you said, have been either falling on you or falling, hopefully not through the cracks, that's probably not the right way to say it, but yeah, I mean, if we don't know what we don't know, then I imagine we need finance director. I would say. Sure.
Yeah, I'm reiterating that. I feel like I understand that it's a great control aspect to not have that person involved, but it's a city budget and, there is a position there and I think we should budget for it. And I think we should change this and budget for a CFO and try to get the positions that we know are important to the correct, personnel
Yeah.
in there.
Okay, so this is a vote.
Well, yeah, I just want everybody to understand what it is we're discussing. This is a charter change, so this
Yeah.
would be, you have to go before the people at the
Right.
March election. If Wendy had mentioned looking at each position and maybe deciding, that's when I would have to lean on Holly to write the correct resolution, because there are things you cannot put in one proposition combined. So I wonder if she'd want that to be
Well,
several propositions.
It didn't sound to me like our staff was suggesting anything other than the finance director at this point in time. And maybe
Okay.
cleaning up that.
The taxes.
And the
Yeah, I
assessor.
wasn't suggesting
Well,
we
and
look at all of them, I was just saying,
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't want the blanket 4.2 removed, it should be on a case by case basis,
Got it.
and we know the financial director's the position we're looking at, I didn't mean
Yeah.
to say, let's look at all of them.
Got it, got it.
Yeah, just my 2 cents on the budget, I think
I know.
that there
I
will
think they
be
want
enough
to at some point.
savings from not doing contracts and freeing other people up that I think that's probably maybe not quite a wash, but pretty close. We can't do this until after. If it passed in March, is there a time frame that it has to,
No,
or it's
it
once,
could go right in, so yeah,
once
I
the
guess,
election is certified, then it could be, that's, you're halfway through the year by the time you're
that's true.
hiring anybody anyway.
So budget.
You could almost budget half, because we wouldn't have to.
Already in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
Hey,
the
online,
contractual stuff.
Or not budget this next budget, get this done, and then revisit it again and
For
see where you're at. I think personally, I'm not a finance person, I would want a CFO involved, but I mean, I also defer
Yeah,
to staff, and if, especially with the change, if it looks like it's gonna be halfway through the year till we can get the charter change. You know, maybe we don't budget it for this year, but you know, it's out there for next year, and then by then, everybody will be over the software change and.
Well, I think they were saying like. Ballot proposition passes in March, we're advertising, we get somebody on board, so we have somebody for 6 months of the year.
Yeah,
So,
At best.
budget out,
Yeah.
yeah.
but I mean,
I would like to see half budget, and I
yeah.
don't want to see nothing budgeted,
Right,
please.
I agree.
Online, council.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead, Jones.
Yeah, I oppose this. I think that it's pretty important to have these positions, these high paid positions and the officer positions need to remain in the city. We've seen multiple organizations within the city go to remote work. That's just salaries and families that aren't living here. It's kids not in our school. It's the repercussions are, pretty severe. It's not something I want to see the city pursue at all. And I will not be supporting this. I think that if we need a CFO, I'd support budgeting a CFO. But I think we need to maybe do a little bit of better work on recruiting before we just throw it all to the wind and start allowing remote workers to work for our city. So thanks.
Hey, Councilman Baylor?
Yeah, I'll support it, and I think it's important. It's an option. Basically, it gives us an option if we put an ad out there, if we can find somebody that's gonna live in town, that's great. That hasn't worked for us yet. But having this other backdoor option to get the job done, I think is important, so I'll support it. And it's just this one position, this particular CFO. I wouldn't, and obviously the assessor and the lawyer, I mean, that's already there, but I wouldn't support any other position but this particular one. Thanks.
Councilor Zastro?
Yeah, I'm in agreement to a degree with both Council Member Jones and Baylor. I feel like we should make the amendment change, but we should prioritize employees of the city to live in the city. If it takes incentives, whatever we need to do to try to get people to come to Cordova and live here and raise their kids here, I think that should be a priority. But if that's not possible, I agree. We should have an ability to get the right people in the job. I'm hearing our city manager and our clerk seem very most definitely feel they need this support. And I would agree we do. Not knowing what we not know is not a good place to be. So I think we need the right people in the right positions to be able to do the work we need to get done. But so I will be supporting this.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Kinsman.
Yeah, how long has it been since we've had a finance director, CFO? 10 years?
2020, right? Can you think the last one?
Yeah, 2020.
Right. Okay, thank you. That's all I needed to know is how long we've been advertising for this position,
No.
on and off, on and off. I know we haven't directly been advertising, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mr. Mayor, I have a question. How long have we been advertising, or how long has it been since we advertised?
No, we've advertised, we haven't advertised consistently since 2020, but we have advertised.
It was advertised, if I can jump in, for a full year in 23.
Yep.
And yeah, we did receive a few applicants that were not willing to live here. That we did not pursue because it is a requirement.
Councilor Sherman.
Okay, so here's the historian in me. I'm going back to about 88, 87, no, maybe 86. I think Jack Ferris was the CFO. Might have the name wrong. Anyway, there was some discussion because he wasn't living in town towards the end of his career. And I believe was let go. And then also, I remember too, when the lawyers, that changed.
Oh, really?
As well. But there are certain positions, I believe, that are extremely difficult to fill within smaller communities like ours, in Alaska. Where you are asking people of a specific talent and background to reside within the community. And I think with the job market as it has become, this is one of the more difficult ones. That said, I certainly prefer to have people employed by the city, who are living in the city, who are contributing in many ways to the city. But I'm also thinking about the audit that we just got, and I'm pretty impressed by the fact that we had people who were unduly cast into their performance in their positions, and yet screamingly just pulled this off. So I'm not totally worried about where we are, although I'd love to see your workload and deep breaths coming from everybody on this side of the table. But I also think it just makes more sense. It opens more doors for us to potentially find someone who might be able to assist with our staff. So it's not my preference, but I'm certainly not gonna close my shutdown towards this option. So I'm in favor of it for now.
And just as a reminder, this is just changing the charter so that it's possible. It doesn't mean we're hiring somebody.
Yeah.
Texas or somewhere else. It just gives us the opportunity. Yeah, who's on?
Ken and Dave.
Okay, the Councilmember Jones?
Yeah, thanks. I see what you're saying there. It doesn't mean we are going to do this, but I've been down this road with two other organizations that I was on the board of, and allowing remote work for officers, and that was the same rhetoric that I was sold at those other boards, and it just ends up with all of the officers out of town. So it's unfortunate. I've been down this road before. We've been a community for over 100 years, and I don't know exactly how long we've had a CFO for, but I don't understand why all of a sudden, with all this new technology and all this new connectivity that we have in our community, why is it so much harder to live here than before? It seemed like probably would have been a lot harder to live here 50 years ago than it is today. So I think that we just need to put a little bit more effort into recruiting the right people, the outdoorsy type people that want to live in a community such as ours. And there's people that would love to come and live in Cordova, and I just don't think we're getting in front of them in the right ways. So I know it's difficult to recruit, but when was the last time we sent staff to a job fair? When was the last time, with this position hasn't been advertised at all in 2024? And, there was a different manager when it was advertised last. So, it seems like the new manager is doing a lot better about recruiting a bunch of new staff members, and people want to come and work for this manager. And, there's a lot of things that change as we get further from the COVID pandemic. People are wanting to work in remote, communities a little bit more after COVID. And I just think we need to do a better job of advertising it. I don't think we need to change the charter to allow for remote work.
Good points, Ken. Zastro? Councilor Zastro?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I there's some good points, Ken. Thank you. I'm just thinking, I just got a question for staff, thinking about, I know this year we haven't put any effort into trying to fill position, but in the past, if we've looked at incentives and another way of bringing quality people that for positions that are hard to fill, have we looked at the potential for term positions where we're not expecting somebody to be here indefinitely, but they have a period of time, whatever it might be, 2 years that we would expect them to work? Is that something within our charter we can do? Is that something that we might imagine we could find a good person, at least for a period of time, to get us on our feet?
Never heard of that,
No,
so we have to try it.
yeah, but I think anybody could come and work 2 years and then leave.
I know,
I don't understand what the term,
yeah,
Well,
it
it's
does.
designed that way. So, right, if you're hiring somebody and they're permanent, you're offering them a certain package. But a term appointment is designed to be a temporary appointment, so they get different types of benefits that a permanent person would get with no plan to leave. It's a very common thing in a lot of organizations to design term positions.
Sometimes it's better or worse,
Sorry?
different.
Neither here nor there on this particular item.
I understand that we're just discussing a variety of things, Mayor. So I'm just saying, as far as recruitment and ways of looking at filling a needed position, I'm just throwing this out there for staff to consider.
Yeah, well, that's certainly an option, sure. Any other comments on this? So are we directing staff to?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick comment too. And as I said, this is an option for us, and I think council, if the majority recommends this, it then goes to the people. And if the community doesn't want this, then they'll vote it down. I mean, we are giving staff an option by going for this. We're giving the community an option by going for this. So we'll see where the cards lay. And if it votes in, we'll work with it. If it doesn't, we'll work with it too. So I'm going to support it.
Yeah, so I think what we're doing is asking staff to bring forward a ballot proposition for next March's election regarding this.
The resolution will come forward that will put the ballot, that council will be putting the ballot problem for the March election.
Yeah.
And I will talk with Holly about doing finance director, adding that language to it, and the assessor, and she'll let me know if it's 2 ballot props or 1, or how that works. That's good.
Okay, any other discussion on this item? We're good, huh? Okay. And the agenda. Yes.
This is the time of year when I'm at my computer a lot more, and one of the things I am perusing is grant opportunities. And I know we don't have in our capital projects anything on the Meals Reservoir and that dam up there. And I just think right now there's quite a bit of state and federal, well, state at least, money for reservoir repair and upgrades. And I was thinking if that's anything that we've looked into, where it's time to start looking out, the harbor project's done. you know, it's time to start looking, I think, forward, in future, and I know that it needs some work up there.
Yes, so the meals, dam is inspected every couple of years by the state, and we have some recommendations from them where, and I can let Kevin talk to it, or you could correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we just got the report back, so I haven't fully gone over it, but it's not too different than any of the issues that have came up in the past years, so. I mean, while there is some maintenance issues, there's nothing that's really jumping out as drastically needed to be done. I mean, if we're gonna be looking at future grant options, I mean, one of the bigger things that we need to be looking forward to, at least on the water side, is the replacement of the Moorpack tank. That's really, I think, our next biggest concern. Couple issues with it is it's aging out, you know, structurally. And then also the land that it's on is leased, and that lease is gonna be coming up here. I don't remember exactly how long, but it's not too far out, you know, I think.
Maybe.
That's
No,
for the
longer
ski
than that.
hill.
You guys, this is pending agenda, and maybe if
Yeah, so I was
if you
just
just
looking
wanted
to
to get the
get
CIP list in front of council again?
Yes, please.
Okay, there you go.
That was it.
But thank you for the
Yeah.
history.
Thank you. I didn't realize the inspection report had just come in, so
Yeah.
okay. I'm just looking at where there's money, grant opportunities, where there's larger chunks of money out there, and, cause I'm always looking for something for the lighthouse, which is few and far between. But, I noticed that there's money out there for reservoirs, for rural reservoir dam replacement, that type of thing, and I thought that's been something that's come up in the past. It might be something worth looking at for a capital project.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Send
definitely
the
not saying
links,
that
if
it's
there's
not,
links,
just,
feel free to
Yeah.
send, we
Okay.
will look into them, we have looked into some. We need to get.
Okay, so the goal is usually a new CIP list before the January new legislative session.
Right.
So can staff just continue on with budget and maybe we'll look at it at the second December meeting maybe? To where you can write some history on some of the projects to bring a new resolution.
I'm just trying to lead out there, I know we're heading into budget right now, but. You know, you've gotta look forward, and there's some big opportunities coming, you know, we need a new high school, we need a new pool, you know, this kind of stuff. You have to be looking out how many years. And it's time to start. And the Meals Reservoir is one that I have on my mind, so I just wanted to double check where we're at with that.
Did we ever hear anything back on North Harbor and that, we're still waiting to hear?
November.
Okay, November, okay,
Yeah.
I thought I heard October, November, okay, great.
We typically wait till after an election, during elections.
Yes, that is true. That's for that. Reminder, and then we have no.
Mr. Mayor,
State Street projects next year. Everything's been pushed out, correct?
White Shed and Second Street are both not in 25.
We're waiting for the white shed, which I should check in with her again, but we're waiting for the white shed match.
And I only bring that up because that piggybacks asphalt and bonding and other roads that can.
Oh, you mean as far as construction actually
Yes.
occurring?
Second Street is slated for 26. CIP is officially slated for 29, but they're really pushing unofficially.
Say that again,
Which one?
CIP.
Second Street is slated for 26.
It's
White Shed,
White
White
what
Shed.
did I say?
CIP.
No, I just wrote.
Yeah.
White Shed is officially slated for 29, but they're really pushing to do it hopefully maybe in 27,
Okay.
but nothing official on that.
What about the airport?
28,
Yes.
it'll be 28, it'll be 28 or later, yeah.
Yeah,
There'll be a lot of paving going on in a good 3-year chunk, but we should definitely be looking to take
Yes,
advantage of that.
that's why I have it on there, so I just wanna make sure it's not anything we need to rush to get into before this budget cycle and worry about for 25. Sounds like we have some time to really digest that for 26. That's why I brought it up.
White Shed will get moved up when one of the potholes swallows a state loader truck.
I think Tom has.
They're pretty good, yeah, Councilmember Baylor.
yeah, I just want to keep number 5 there, the manager spending limit on the table and maybe get that at a future meeting. We have it on there now, but just another reminder, I'd like to see that come up.
Yeah, I think we can do some of these things after we're done with the budget. We got a budget workshop next week,
Yes. Yep.
Wednesday at,
Okay, so October 30th
Third, yeah.
at 6, because since we're not having any other meeting after it, it can go as long as we want. And the goal is to have general fund full budget, revenues and expenses together. Try to get that out Friday, maybe Saturday, as long as it's before baseball.
And then this.
As long as I'm not flying to LA, no, I'm not. And then first meeting in November, the 6th, we will meet at 5 or 5:30 before that. And I think we have enterprise funds or fee schedule on
We're
that.
both, yeah, we'll see where we fall, we'll just see how next
One at a time.
Yes,
week
yes.
goes, because we may need to push.
We're trying to schedule for every week on a Wednesday, and if not enough can get done between, we can schedule the work session. Or push it or something.
okay, anything else? Do you want, anything big they wanna talk about?
Oh, maybe I'll email you about, Sam had mentioned that November 4th is a Monday and there's a joint hospital services board and NB tribal council meeting.
Tribal,
Oh, no, it's their health board.
Yes.
I'm sorry, okay, so a joint meeting between the two health boards. Which might be of interest to council to attend, so I'll let you know when I hear of it.
Okay.
Is that an open meeting? If
If
our
our
hospital services
board
board
is
is
in there,
in
yes.
it, yes, it would have to be.
Anything else? Okay, audience participation. Still have Dottie here. You wanna say anything?
gotta come talk to the mic so I can hear you on the.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when's appropriate and how things go, but I wanted to let you know we're taking a tree down on the property. And we have people that are gonna be coming in within November. But if the sidewalk on council will be affected, I think that Mike has been talking to Kevin about it, that we're gonna be putting a new sidewalk there and be also the sidewalk on, but that involves DOT. But we're gonna be replacing the sidewalk in front of the building because it was compromised when it was cut down. But just letting you all know that we're getting ready to start that foundation work on that property, and then in April of 2025 with a goal of being mostly done by April 26th. That'll be a new building.
Exciting.
On Main Street.
Congratulations.
We hope that's something that will improve the, bring some retail life and some new construction to there, and with a facility that I feel will really enhance Main Street.
Yep, thank you.
From a true net loft to a real building.
Okay, thank you. Council comments. We'll start online. Councilmember Jones.
No comment. I guess thanks Dottie for investing in the community. I really appreciate it.
So does your wife.
Yeah, thanks for calling in too, Kenny, to help us with the meeting. Councilmember Zastro.
Yeah, just a shout out to the Covered Spaces project. I'm really happy to see this moving forward. Nothing else.
Councilmember Baylor.
Yeah, thanks for everybody being there, and just a quick comment on the issues of trying to hire people. When I came to Alaska 40 years ago, I went from making $11 an hour to $15 an hour at a logging camp. The people that came from Oregon and Washington came from $8 an hour to $15 an hour. The state retirement, the state pay was awesome. That's all changed now. You can do much better. If you're in the trades, you can make more money in the lower 48. Your housing is cheaper, your cost of living is cheaper. Alaska is no longer the huge
opportunity and pay scale is not much different. So that does hamper, kind of hinder getting people to move to Alaska. It makes it tougher. We see that all the time. People come into Cordova, they work here a couple of years, they can't find housing, the cost of living, they get a better job in lower 48 and they're much happier. So I'm not making excuses for staff or anything else, but it's just a fact. It's just the way it is today. And, we either have to pay more to get people and keep people, or we got to be flexible. And I think trying to be a little bit flexible with that CFO is probably the right course of action. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's all online, yeah. Councilmember Kinsman.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for those comments, Councilmember Baylor, but it's not impossible for people to move here. As a more recent member of the community, there is a certain part of the country's population that does enjoy some of the benefits and freedoms of living here, but yeah, it is a different climate. And I'm in favor of giving some of those options. Couple points here. I touched on it earlier. I just wanted to just thank everyone who participated in last week's work session. There was really good dialogue and conversation. Thank you. It was a long meeting, so thank you for that as well. To throw in some support and hopefully alleviate a few phone calls for Susan. The state election resource site is fantastic, very easy to navigate. I went in there, got my son on there, tried to help him navigate on, very simple, very intuitive. And just a general shout out to the public. If you haven't looked at ordinance 1221, take a look at it. There's some changes in there. If you have an opinion, come with your opinion. We would have preferred it probably a couple months ago, when it would have been a lot easier to make some changes because we put a lot of work into it. But with that, there are some aspects that are going to greatly affect our community. And again, we really have heard very, very little, if anything, on it. So that's my public plea to get in there, take a look at it, ask some questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rainey.
Thanks to staff, there's a lot of work in these packets and, I understand, and thanks to, Tom and Ken and Dave, I absolutely hate being online for meetings, so I understand the troubles with that. Dottie, should I just sign my paychecks over directly to you? But yeah, I appreciate the discussions, they're good ones, and it takes me a little while to digest, so I will come back with maybe some comments on the audit. Maybe.
Hey, Councilmember Carpenter.
Thank you. I echo what a lot of folks have said. I wanted to comment on the notes that we got from Prince William Sound Regional Citizens Advisory Council, and I was very troubled by the comment about the fact that DEC removed the RCACs as named plan reviewers for spill response plans, because they're our advocate. They are the advocate for our community. And if Dave was here, I was gonna ask him, what can we do? How do we, is there any way to weigh in on that comment on it, talk to our legislator or something? Because I just feel like this is, they advocate on our behalf. So that was troubling to me. It just seemed like more of dismantling of the protections. And so, yeah, I found that troubling. But thank you to Dottie and Natasha for the Covered Spaces project, for keeping that, so for putting so much energy and love into that. I really think that's great. And thanks to Sam for writing her double budget process.
Councilmember Sherman.
Sure, I too was gonna comment on the concerns on recreation or RCAC, sorry. That in particular, but then also if you haven't clicked on the links to some of the reports, they are fascinating, like where the bird studies that Ann Schaefer and Marianne Bishop did, it's very great science. And also the invasive species from the ballast water. So click on the links. I got lost reading that. I wanted to compliment staff on the hirings that they've done. I know we're talking about vacancies, but you're filling a lot of positions and hiring from within, which I think is an awesome way to go. Because we have talented people that are working for the city. And I know there's depressing stuff, but you know, Second Street, White Shed, the ferry terminals, that's all pretty good news and good stuff, and thanks to President Sound Economic Development Group for working on the ferry terminals. It would be nice if we would design ferries to fit our terminals that are already in existence, but nonetheless, we still have ferries. And kudos to Dottie and to the covered spaces. I mean, I get depressed at times, but there is a lot of good stuff on the horizon, and we need to keep that in our focus because that is what helps us move forward and come to these meetings. And the community should be not complaining, but either coming to the meetings or acknowledging the good stuff that's happening as well. So, and kudos to everybody who responded. I hit the black ice too. I did not lose control, but I was right behind the accident. And it was city people who were there, city responders who were there to help. And that, you know, there's a lot of good in this community, and that's one of the things that happened this week. So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Yep, thank you. And thanks to staff for the audit.
Yeah.
Sam and Sharon. And all the rest, and I know it's a lot of work and a lot of stress. Getting through that every year, and I haven't had a chance to look at all the numbers yet, but you know, we have some rectifying to do at some point in time here, for too long. So, anyway, thank you for the work you all do, and congratulations on all the new hires.
It's very exciting.
And yeah, so anyway, I don't think we have an executive session, correct?
Correct.
No.
So our business being completed, we will adjourn the meeting. Thanks, Tom. Ken, Dave.
Thank you all.
Go make it happen.
Yeah.